on the down low.
Go to the down low. Moo! I've always wanted to be a cow.
Okay, you are crazy.
No, seriously. They eat grass all day, hang out.
It's a good life.
No bull, just grass.
They want you back. I'm in love with the cocoa. I'm in love with the cocoa.
Oh my God. You are crazy.
Come on, this is so much fun.
Wonderful. Guys, one more time for Shruti and Yvonne. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. First and foremost, congratulations on the film. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us and talking about it today.
Us.
Awesome.
Thanks for everybody for being here.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. It's snowing outside, so
right.
we're grateful.
We're all together here like a big old family talking about some quality cinema here. So I want to ask you a question. Before we get into the specifics and talk a little bit, just tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you guys kind of got to this project and how it all started.
Oh, gosh. Well, my name is Yvonne Wandera. I am an actress and a writer. I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and have been doing this for a while. And then so I decided to have a conversation with a friend of mine a couple of years ago. And she really struck me. She was talking about how she feels very isolated and lonely. And she happens to be Muslim, and she happens to be a woman, and she happens to be American. And then she happens to be of color. So she just said she's completely isolated in this community that she grew up in. And I just felt overwhelmed and compelled to have to just write something for her, because she said no one talks about her, meaning the type of person that she is. No one actually is telling us her story, her way of life, and I wrote it. I wrote it, and yeah, that's how we got that.
Hi, I'm Shruti Sadana. I'm an actor, producer, and host. So Yvonne came to me with this project, and I just felt so compelled to be involved, and we're actually really good friends, too. So I just thought it was an important story to be told, and, you know, it goes a lot deeper.
Yeah.
So I had to be involved.
In coming up with the story and talking about and exploring this theme of feeling isolation, how did you arrive at the idea of it's the day before the wedding and all that? So where did the specifics start to come in? How did you flesh it out, starting with that idea?
Okay, one, there was something about the concept of having her outside the home. So no internal scenes, nothing to do with her family. We didn't want to see anyone else. We just wanted to see her in her own space. Now, in my car, that's like my second home. I've got everything in there. I've got literally an iron in there. It's so handy to have a car. So I just wanted to show that idea of a woman living in her car, experiencing everything that's so important to her in her car, and also creating this world in her car of her own that she felt at home in, that she felt alive in, and that where she felt she could express herself, really.
And the process of developing these characters, obviously heavily inspired by your friend, but were you pulling in from other people within your life, other life experiences, other stories, things like that?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I honestly, I pulled from everywhere. I read everything. I watch everything. I think it's really important to actually, rather than looking at how everyone's so different, I realized everyone's so similar. Because my experience has been quite similar growing up, where I have had moments as a young girl feeling isolated and lonely and not really knowing where to go or how to reach out or any of that. So I pulled from I'm a Londoner, so, you know,
Never heard of it.
I know, somewhere, somewhere
Shocking.
far. But yeah, so, you know, I pulled from my upbringing in East London. I pulled from my friend's upbringing. And I pulled from Shruti's, you know, the conversations we had. And I just pulled from everywhere and realized how homogenized we are. So yeah.
Was that something that you found yourself doing early on, like going out and escaping in your car, like, you know?
I still escape in my car. What are you talking about? It's the best place. Yeah, I think not really escaping in my car. I think I found moments where I've just got somewhere, I'm not ready to go in, and I just take a few minutes to myself in the car. And it's just a space where you just like, oh, I can be myself for a few seconds before I have to put a face on, or, you know, be happy or be sad, or whatever it is. And I'm not, yeah.
It's like your fortress of solitude. It's like you
Exactly.
have some moments for you. Which is funny because unless you have tinted windows, you're completely exposed to everyone around you. But it's still, for some reason, being in that space feels safe. Shruti, talk to us a little bit about tapping into those vibes and developing your character and getting in touch with that side of the story.
So actually, I hang out in my car all the time. And I think that the character, you know, my character is something that Zafira really wants to be like. So she's easygoing, she lives in the moment, she doesn't live by the rules. And I think her character is more like her parents have been protective of her. She's kind of been sheltered a little bit. So I think that my character is the free-spirited one and what she is seeking to be. So, and that kind of, I mean, I kind of just connected with it. It was just really natural for me. So I don't even know if I really prepared for it. I think I just tapped in and was more intuitive and just connected with myself.
I know you guys were saying that you had some conversations early on, especially throughout kind of like the writing process and sort of understanding. What were those conversations like? How long were they? What did you guys talk about? Where did you go?
The car. Seriously, we improvised in the car a lot. Because there's something about being in that space that felt, okay, now we can have a completely different, the volume of our conversation was different, the way we engaged with each other, there was an intimacy in a sense where you're closer when you're in the car than when you're anywhere else. You kind of tend to move your chair farther away from people and you don't want to disturb anyone, but in the car you're sort of set in that position. So we did lots of improvising, lots of park benches.
Yes.
That was fun. But nowhere in a, you know, rehearsing in a space that's not like a room or a building didn't feel quite natural for us. It felt like we needed to keep that energy. That's
Authentic.
Really, yeah.
The significance of the car. Have you guys explored a partnership or a sponsorship? Have you reached out to anybody? It seems like the car was a very instrumental part of this process to help get the film more. I mean, it's already been widely seen, but you know, get it even further out there, right?
We kind of trashed the car.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
bad.
supposed to be. I think the idea of the car is it was supposed to be an old hoopty.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be anything that was of any distinguishable character. It was supposed to be a broken old car that functioned and just kind of capturing the internal life rather than... Yeah,
for sure.
But we should have done that, shouldn't we? Yeah. Shouldn't have done that.
Next time, next project,
time.
for
Next
sure.
project, for sure.
Talk to me a little bit about your director, Dale, how you kind of got in touch with him, how you came to the decision to work with him, and what that was like.
Well, that was an interesting exploration, mainly because we wrote a film about women, by women, and then by women of color. And then we were looking at directors, and I'm a strict and firm believer on the person who adds a different dimension to the piece. So Dale came from a very, very different perspective. I mean, the last scene that we shot, instead of sort of breaking it up and having cutaways, he decided to do one take. So it was a 10-minute straight scene that I did 3 times. So he had a very different energy that just appealed to this project, and we were lucky to have him, so I'm
You
very
did
lucky.
it 3 times? Or how many times did you do that last one?
I did the last scene 2.5 times.
2.5 times.
Yeah. And I think the half was because they wanted to do a few cutaways, just in case. But then we ended up just using the shot of me doing it all the way through with a handheld camera. So that was
I mean, this
intense.
film was filmed in less than 24
I was
hours.
gonna say, about how long was the shoot? Was it like a whole weekend? Was it like just?
No,
No.
we
Mary
didn't have the
Priscilla
budget
style.
for that.
I know that's too much luxury. Oh, no, no, no. You know, everyone's in there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we shot the whole thing in one day. We did. And it felt right. It didn't feel as though it's something that needed to drag on. And Dale was very insistent on it being shot on one day. We did give him the option, and he's the one who said no.
No, we can get everything we need.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned written by, produced by, starring, you know, women with a strong voice. And I wanted you to talk, I read in an earlier interview that you were saying every single team member, and you just kind of said it a moment ago, brought something special, unique that shaped this project. I was hoping you could talk a little bit more about the team involved and some of like the superpowers that they brought to make this into what it is.
Yeah. Oh, our producer, Emmeline Rodelis. She's amazing. We owe her a lot. Lots of
Yeah,
dinners.
we really
still.
do.
We do. We do. Yeah, she involved OT Genesis, and he gave us his track for free. Thank you. Thank you. Bow down.
Oh, him some dinners as well?
Yes. Yeah. Oh gosh. So he let us use the song and let us sing it out of tune throughout the whole thing. And she was incredible at just bringing a team together that was solid and that understood what we wanted to do and that was enrolled in the whole storytelling of what, you know, just talking about compassion. Yeah. Just in this day and age, compassion is key, I think.
For sure, for sure. You were saying that you guys, how long have you known each other? Have you guys...
What has it been 3 years now?
3?
3 years, 3 long years.
3 long years, yes.
3? Why long years?
In the acting world, I think that's like 50, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that how the math works out?
Keeping a relationship for 3 years in the acting world is good.
And when you're working with friends,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's different. And you have to remember that you're friends at the end of the day, but when you're working, you might have differences and you might agree on stuff. And sometimes we had differences, but we worked around them, which was nice. And you can't say that about everybody. Sometimes people end up losing friends because they work with them and it doesn't work out.
Well, for sure, that's one of those, for some people, unanticipated consequences of working close, especially in a creative field with people that you're friends with, because there are going to be creative differences. There are going to be things where you have a strong point of view on how this should be and vice versa.
Right.
And you're saying that that did happen on this particular project, but thankfully you guys were able to
Yeah.
Well,
work
not
through it and
really,
find solutions.
nothing
Not in a
big.
bad way, no.
nothing bad.
It's just
It's just production.
production, yeah.
Stress and strain. We did this in 24 hours. You know, it was a very long day.
And we didn't have much time, and we're shooting in California, and we live here. You know, there's a lot at stake.
Logistics going
Lots
on.
going on, and you know, I think, especially for me, I learned a lot about problem solving, and she was a lot because of her. She's great at that, and you know, especially when you're working in production, things happen, and you just have to work around them. If it rains, whatever happens, and she taught me a lot about problem solving. So thank you.
Well, that actually dovetails nicely into my next. I enjoy whenever I get like a dynamic duo such as yourself here, like people that work closely together. One of the questions I love to ask, and I was going to say, I think you kind of answered this, but feel free to elaborate, Shruti. So, what's something that Yvonne did that either surprised you or you were proud of that you really appreciated? And then I was going to flip that and have you do the same thing for Shruti.
I really was just proud how she brought all this together, the script, the team. I mean, I know we worked together, but she really took charge. She was really a leader, and especially where I was a little bit lost or getting panicked, she kind of just kept me grounded. And I don't know if I can just pick one thing. I feel like I learned so much, and she.
Well, it says here on the card you got to
Great.
pick
So
one.
sweet.
I'm sorry, I hate to be a stickler about these rules, but it's written, so you got to pick one thing. You got to. I'm teasing. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, yeah, no.
No rules here.
A lot. I learned a lot, so I can't pick one thing.
Fantastic.
I think the biggest thing for me was, gosh, you're so much fun.
Thank you.
She's just great at like bringing coffee in the morning. You know, no, I mean that.
I know
like
what you mean,
people
like,
who just come in
considerate,
with
right?
love in the morning and they just hand you a cup of coffee. Here you go. How are you? There's just something so warm and lovely about that. Greeting someone with a hug or greeting someone with just something that will just pick them up in the morning.
Right.
Cups of tea. That was
Yeah,
my thing.
she's a cup of tea girl.
Yeah.
No coffee.
Yeah.
Someone who appreciates and understands the magnitude of like a small gesture and what that could mean. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're almost out of time. We're going to go to audience Q&A in a second. But before we do, I just wanted to talk a little bit about like what you guys have been up to, what's going on. Yvonne, I think I heard you were shooting a project in Israel. Is that so?
I am. I'm supposed to be there right now.
Oh, this is live. If they're going to know you're not there if they see.
I'll be there in a couple of
in
weeks.
trouble.
Yeah. They'll just notice I'm not there. It's another car movie.
Oh yeah.
It's a feature film. It's called Scoot, the movie. Cool. So it's about this American guy who gets in a cab, another car, and travels around Israel. And he is looking for his father's ashes. And then he ends up having an experience or sharing the cab with this Arab woman, Muna, who's me. And she's carrying an unusual gift from her husband. So they end up kind of going on this journey together, covering a huge landscape and just, living in each other's worlds for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Or a few hours, really. Yeah, and it's Niv Gatz directing it. He's incredible, lots of stuff from the producers of Brick and Jungle with Daniel Radcliffe. So yeah, check it out. There's content out there.
Oh, for sure.
There's if you go on Facebook, Niv is just one of those directors who's always like leaking little bits and bobs about people and humanity, and he just wants to like draw people in to that conversation, which is compassion. We're human, we're the same.
That sounds like an incredible experience, and like it's going to be really interesting. Definitely going to keep an eye out for that. And then, Shruti, I know you've been super busy as well. You're working on, 2 shows? You're hosting for BCG Magazine, Girl Talk Weekly. How's all that going? What shows are you working on?
So everything's going great. Yeah, so I do hosting for BCG Magazine, Beauty, Cocktails, and Girl Talk. And we do a lot of red carpet events, so that's so much fun. And I love the magazine so much. And the founder, Nicola Higgins, she's such an inspiration. If you have a chance, check out the magazine. We're all about inspiration. And if you're having a bad day, trust me, you want to go read it.
Yeah.
And then, working on 2 TV shows. One is in post-production. It's called We Be Nurses. And that's kind of like Grey's Anatomy meets Quantico. So there's thrill, suspense, and that's produced by 74 Adorami Productions. Very inspiring story also about the company. And then I'm also working on a TV show called Mayhaven. That's a sort of, what do you call it? Sons of Anarchy meets
Mad Max-ish?
something like that, yeah. So we're going to be shooting some promos in Wilmington, North Carolina in May. We have some of the cast from One Tree Hill who's involved. Oh, cool. We're super excited, and if you're a fan and you're going to be in the area, we have some really cool prizes that we're offering. You can come hang out on set with us. And I'm so excited to work with just so many talented people. I mean, I think that to me is so special. So, yeah.
Very, very awesome. And congrats once again to you guys on this film and all the success and everything you've been working on. We're going to go to audience Q&A, but the very, very, very last thing, the whole reason we're here, how can people see and support the film?
Online, click Inflatable K, and you can watch it. It's
Vimeo.
that simple.
That's it.
Yeah, just go click on our website, and then you can click on the link. And
that web,
you'll be
literally,
there.
it's inflatableK.com.
Yes.
Right? Yep, perfect. All right, let's go ahead. Who's got the microphone right here?
Hi, thanks for being here. I have a question about your performance and your writing. I was wondering if you find that you approach it differently because this is a short film, so you don't have as much time to establish like a connection with the audience, maybe?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Because I have a thing about this. I've watched so many short films which I felt, I need to see more. I need to explore more of this character. And I've watched other short films where it's complete. It's like a capsule where you just capture that life and that moment in itself. And I think that's how you should really approach it when you're writing a short film. You should write something that's complete within that time and that people get a strong sense of what you wanted to say. Yeah.
So, yeah, awesome.
I think I'd have to go with that.
Second. Okay, got it. Next
We're going to
question.
take our next question from an online viewer. So Madison would like to know, what are your thoughts on the recent travel bans and how it may affect international filmmakers?
Ooh. Obviously, as we've seen with the Oscars and a couple of other award ceremonies, that has affected a few people in terms of their presence or they've decided to boycott. But I think in terms of the travel ban, gosh, can we just get back to talking to each other? Really,
Right.
this isn't. It's not even about the travel ban. Even this particular short, the reason why I made it is because we don't talk to our neighbors anymore. We don't understand what they're going through, how their lives are. There's no compassion. And so let's just talk a bit more. Let's have a conversation with people. Let's try and resolve things the good old-fashioned way that has worked for centuries through communicating, talking.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, with social media and the internet, you can still talk. You don't need to come here. I mean, you could put your video, your movie up on there's so many different channels. So you can still use your voice. Don't let that stop you, no matter where you are in the world. That's what I would say.
Yes.
I believe we have time for one more question. Right over here.
Thank you. Shruti and Yvonne, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for coming.
Pleasure. Thank you. My question has to do with my understanding of the film thus far, and as I understand, you've created this insight into this transitory vehicle where a woman can retreat and take care of herself, sort of prepare for, what she must encounter in the outside world. And my question has to do in terms of our society as a whole. Do you have any suggestions, Yvonne or Shruti, how society or our culture can aim to meet these needs of the feminine that needs this space to retreat to as a culture or together rather than just individually?
Okay, that's a really spiritual question.
It's another great question. You guys are all going to just sit here. I'm going to sit there next time is how we're going to do this. Thank you for that.
Really, really wonderful. Thank you for asking that.
Yes.
Back to conversation. You see, I don't think you have to pick a particular place to engage with someone. I don't care whether it's on the phone, whether it's on the street, whether it's in your house. It's a culture that you have to carry with you throughout your whole day. And I think people forget to do that because they end up kind of putting separate things into separate boxes and saying, okay, these are the people I can engage with in a real and meaningful way, and these are the people I can't. So in that sense, bringing it back to womanhood and women engaging and really being within themselves and empowered, you have to do that from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed. And it starts with you and then going outward to the people that you engage with. And I think it has to be a daily, all-day experience, really. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it's definitely a beginning, and I know that there's much more that we can all do for each other.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Thank you for asking that one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
So beautiful, such a beautiful question. I just think that, we need to connect with each other more, and I don't mean like on the phone or social media, just really connect with people in general. And it's not just women. You see someone and hello, how are you, smiling, it just makes such a difference. So I think let's try to understand each other more, and instead of judging each other, because there's enough of that in the world, and just, say hi to a stranger, start a conversation, and just spread your light. I think that's the best thing you can do, and I think that would be my answer. Thank you.
Well, guys, I could sit here and talk to you forever, but regrettably our time is running out. So I do want to say, everyone, check out inflatableK.com.
Yes.
And I want to thank you not only for being here, but for this film and for your message of inclusivity and of togetherness and of encouraging conversation. I think it's a message we certainly need and can use now. So thank you for that. Thank you one more time for Yvonne and Shruti. Everybody, make some noise, please. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.